In this example, we need to use our following function below to determine f of -4, f of 0, and then find what x is when f of x equals 0. So before we start, let's remember what a function is. A function is defined to have only one answer of y for every value of x. So in A and B, we're only going to have one answer of y, but in C, we can have more than one answer, because we're solving for our value of x. Let's take a look at our first question. We need to determine f of -4. So looking at our graph below, we have f of x, but instead of f of x, we want to find f of -4. So we're going to replace -4 with our x, and go to our graph and find -4 on the x-axis. Well, there's -1, -2, -3, so right here is -4. And then we're going to follow this line of -4 up until we touch our function. So we touch our function at this point, and we want to find the y value at this point. So we're going to follow this dot all the way to the y-axis. And we see that that dot reaches the y-axis at +2. So the value of f of -4 is +2. Now let's determine f of 0. Well, let's find where x equals 0 on the graph. That's right at the origin. And then we want to find what our y value is at that point. Well, we can see that our function f of x crosses through the origin, so that means our y is going to equal 0. Now looking at our last question, we need to find our values of x for when f of x equals 0. So instead of the question giving us our value of x, it gives us our value of y. So on the graph, we have to find where our y equals 0. Well, that's going to be at our origin. So when y equals 0, what are our values of x? Well, we can clearly see that because our function passes through the origin, we are also going to have an x value of 0. So x is going to equal 0. But if we look at our function again, we can extend this line of y equals 0 all the way along its axis and see that the graph also crosses when x equals -5. So we have two values for x. We have 0 and -5. But this works because the function is defined to have only one answer of y for every x. But we can have 2 different or 3 different answers of x for every value of y.